Balloon Beats.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hennessy, joined today for the Yankees pregame by the man himself, Brian DeGennaro. How are we doing today, Brian?
I'm fantastic, Pat. How are you?
Listen, I can't complain. As usual, listen, before we get into anything Yankees pregame related, shout out to everybody currently in the chat. Let's take attendance / roll call. You guys know the deal. We got Ed King, Lori, Yankees highlights, Stevie Bats. We got Dirtbike Nation, Damian, Yankees reversed. The Yankee logo is indeed reversed. We got Caleb, Diego. Who else we got? We got Daniel, Voltage Gaming. We got Johnny, MYY Talks. Yes, Memorial Day. Today's Memorial Day. You don't say Happy Memorial Day, do you? Is that a thing?
You do. You say Happy Memorial Day, yeah. It's a day of remembrance, and
So Happy Memorial Day. But I guess because it is Memorial Day, the Yankees have a day game. Right, so the Yankees play at 1 o'clock. A rare 1 o'clock Monday game. Not a fan whatsoever. Bro, usually it's like Saturday, Sunday that are like 1 o'clock. Saturday we were blessed enough to have a 4 o'clock game. Here we are Monday with a 1 o'clock game. But let's take a look at the Yankees lineup for today. DJ is leading it off at first. Stan 2, Judge 3, Urshela 4, Glaber 5, Odor 6, Andujar 7, Higgy 8, catching for Tyone, which is interesting. And then Gardner 9 in center. Clint has the day off. How are we feeling about today's lineup, Brian?
I think it's weird that we don't see Gary in there, especially after he's been getting hot lately. We went 2 for 3 with a walk yesterday, so it's kind of it seems to be the pretty typical of the Yankees to sit someone the day after they get hot. So I don't know what the thinking is behind that. I don't think he needed a day off today. I don't know why Higgy's in there, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit. Once Kluber went down, we said that since Higgy was kind of Cole and Kluber's personal catcher, now that Kluber's out, why not kind of take those reps that Higgy would get with Kluber and like have him get those reps with Tyone?
I guess so.
I think that he would have been catching Tyone this whole time if he wasn't Kluber's guy as well, right? Because then he would be catching the majority of the games. I think the Yankees still want Gary to be like the primary catcher. Right. So I think as long as Kluber's out, maybe Higgy could find something with Tyone that Gary's not able to do. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be great.
Listen, I'm kind of happy to see Stanton still in there. We always know the Yankees don't like playing him 2 days in a row, right? So I'm actually shocked we don't have Gardner or Odor in the 2-hole. I kind of like Odor 6. If you're gonna have him in the lineup, that's probably a good spot for him. But we need DJ to come around. I believe he had a 2-hit game yesterday. If that's kind of the start of him starting to come around, the Yankees really need him to get hot at the top of the order.
Yeah, I think more than anybody, we need him right now, right? You're only going to get so much out of the second half of the order. These guys are, really not going to give you that much, but DJ needs to start producing more than anybody.
Yeah. But listen, Brian, the Yankees are coming off a putrid series against the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
But now they kind of start a little homestand, right? I believe they play the Rays and the Red Sox. It's going to be very interesting, simply because these are two really good teams in the American League East, right? Two teams that they're going to have to jump over if they want to take over first place. But based on what we saw against Detroit, a team that's much worse on paper than the Rays and the Red Sox, the Yankees struggled significantly. So, what are your expectations for this series?
Yeah, I don't want to think too much about Detroit. I think we've seen all season that the Yankees struggle against bad teams, struggle against bad pitching, especially. I don't know if it's just that they're unprepared for it, that they take it for granted and they're like, oh, it's just they're going to be bad, so we don't need to prepare for this or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to be a thing that they just don't play to the level that they should when they're playing against bad teams. Maybe they just play to the level of the team that they're playing. We see that a lot with teams that are good. So hopefully that's the case this series, and they pick it up against a good Rays team. We've seen them play well against them so far this season. We had a clunker of a series earlier in the season, but last time we played them, I think we took 2 out of 3, right? And it should have been 3 out of 3, but we punted the last game, which we're gonna regret at some point. But no, I expect them to come around and play a little bit better this series. Play up to the level of competition that we're gonna see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd hope so. It's just I don't have high expectations for this series whatsoever.
I can't be negative anymore, Pat. I really can't. Like, this team is just taking the life out of me. So I
yeah,
need
but
to
also
start
at the
thinking
same
that they're gonna
time,
turn
it's like,
around.
bro, like we can't continue to be negative, but at the same time, it's like it's so tough to be positive.
You're absolutely right. They've shown
You know
us
what I mean?
no reason to be positive
No,
about. They've shown nothing. This past series was just such a mess. Just every aspect: fielding, base running, pitching, hitting, and everything was terrible. So I mean, there's nothing to be excited about right now, and they haven't done anything to address that. They haven't brought up a Gittins. They haven't brought up a Florial. They're just bringing up relief pitchers that aren't really going to do much. So I don't know. You're right. There isn't much to be optimistic about, but I have no other choice at this point, Pat. I can't keep being negative. I can't keep,
it's fair.
crapping on Boone for the way he manages this team, or Marcus Thames for being a terrible hitting coach. I just can't do it anymore.
It's fair. But listen, the pitching matchup for today is Rich Hill versus Jameson Tyone. I think if we look at it from a Yankees perspective, it's a very bad matchup simply because Rich Hill is one of those guys that you expect to rock, right? But the Yankees just don't. They faced him twice so far this season, once earlier this month and I believe one in April, and they lost both games. So, I mean, for some reason, the Yankees just can't seem to hit Rich Hill, and especially considering how putrid, I love that word, putrid, how putrid the lineup has looked for like the past week or so. We have no reason to believe that the Yankees are going to dominate Rich Hill today. We just have no reason to believe that.
No.
It sucks. And I mean, I guess the only positive of today's pitching matchup would be Jameson Tyone's pitching at home. Right?
And he's pitching to Higgy, so maybe that sparks something. Maybe they find something. Maybe he calls a better game than Gary does.
I'm just so over it, bro.
But at this point, like, I don't really care about the pitching. It's the offense. If they're gonna go out and score one run, it doesn't matter how good Tyone is gonna be. They're gonna lose the game. Yeah. Like, you gotta score runs. That's the only thing. Like, there's nothing else to say about it.
But also, we can't really like discredit the fact the Rays are a solid team.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
On paper, the Rays never really look like they're a really viable competitor in the American League East, right? But it always seems like they piece together these guys, and like they just end up like destroying us all the time
because they compete to their level of talent, right? They have they have decent talent, and they compete to that level. They're consistent. They constantly play to that level. The Yankees have much more talent than them, but never play to that level. We don't see that from any of our guys. We know how good these guys can be, right? We know how good Torres can be. We know how good Gary Sanchez can be. And they just It's
a good way of putting it. Let's take a look at some of these comments in the chat. Let's see. Johnny says, I basically didn't watch them play against the Tigers. It was just brutal to watch. It was like watching Little League. I think my local Little League team would probably do better than that.
No, that's way more entertaining, man.
No, probably. Yeah, easy. But let's see. Yankees Reverse says, all of Boone's punt lineups are going to come back to bite us when we are half a game back of first place. Bro, I just don't understand the punt lineup. So here's my thing, right? The Yankees seem to be playing this season so passively. right?
Scared.
I don't want to say scared, but
I think so.
I think the complete opposite of scared. I think they're overconfident. I think that they're so confident in this team and they think the AL East is all but a guarantee that they're not really taking the regular season seriously.
Well, that's true, but I think they're scared of injuries. You know, they're like resting
They're
guys 2-3 times a week when you don't need to do that. It's baseball. It's not football. We're not playing a contact sport. You don't need to rest these guys. You don't need to rest a guy like Aaron Judge twice a week. He's a professional athlete. He should be able to. And if he can't handle it, then he shouldn't be on the team. He shouldn't be playing a major league sport. That's just that's the reality of it. Like you need these guys to play 150 games a year, and right now they're on pace. All of them are on pace for like 120 games. So they're playing scared. They're terrified of injuries. But yes, you're absolutely right as well. They're not taking it seriously enough. They're not. There's no urgency from this team to get wins when they really need to be playing more urgent. We're 3.5 games back right now, and it's June now. It's almost June, so we need to start getting it together because you're running out of time to put a decent product out on the field.
4.5.
Even worse.
Yeah.
So, and this is a big series because it's the Rays that we're 4.5 back. So they sweep us, we're 7.5 back, and now you're in a hole.
Brian, you have some good points today. No, you have some good points. I mean, it's really just brutal. Like, I just want to see the Yankees play with some sort of urgency, right? I want to watch them play like they have to win games in order to win the division. And I think that's what was so cool about that 2017 team, right?
Yes.
They played every game like it mattered for their season because they knew how much it mattered for the season.
Yes, and even when they go down 5 runs, they would go as hard as they can, and sometimes they'd come back and win the game.
Very often they would come back.
But now you go down 1 run and the game's over.
No,
and I'm sick of hearing Aaron Judge say, "Yeah, we need to play better." Like, okay, then play better. Like, get it together. The morale needs to get up. Something needs to happen.
But like that's my thing, right? You look at the Yankees and like, bro, I feel like this is something that maybe a lot of people don't talk about enough. I feel like maybe all the hype has kind of gotten to their head a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I think that all the talk of how good the Yankees are and how they're going to be unstoppable in the American League East, all the predictions we've made for them, I think that it's kind of gotten to their head in the point where they feel like they don't even have to try. And they're just going to win games without trying, and that's going to be good enough. They don't have to focus on the fundamentals. They don't have to focus on beating like the crappy pitchers because they're just going to rake on them anyway. And that's clearly just not the case. Now, obviously, I can't speak for what goes on in the clubhouse, but I mean, from an outside perspective, sure, it does kind of seem like maybe the hype has gone to their head, and now they're not taking these games in the regular season too seriously. And you can only assume that the organization feels like that because you are punting games, like especially in the last game of a series against a division rival when you go for a sweep. And then it's so aggravating, bro.
Right, but I think that's the key, right? It's not just the players who are thinking, "Oh, we're so good, we don't need to try." It's the organization. It's Boone putting out crap lineup after crap lineup because they don't need to try because they're going to win anyway. But that hasn't been the case this year. You just got swept by one of the worst teams in the league.
I agree. It's brutal. Jesse Sanchez says the Yankees record in day games 9-13 and in night games 20-9. That's odd. I don't know why they're so much worse in day games.
They can't.
Bro, I mean, but who likes day games? Like, okay, I know a lot of people do like day games, actually.
I like going to day games.
I don't.
Really?
Bro, because that means you got to wake up at like, what, 10?
Oh, my God. God forbid you wake up at 10.
I mean, when you go to sleep at 5, it's tough.
But,
what was I saying? Oh, like, bro, I feel like day games are only a thing because, like, stadiums never used to have lights. Like, baseball is a night sport. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's the opposite. I think baseball is a day sport because that's how it started. But no, I prefer night games. I'm with you on that. I'm just saying I think that like the reason it's still around is because that's tradition, right? Like if it hadn't been for that, it'd only be night games.
No, yeah, but also like, bro, I hate like postseason day games. Like that's the worst.
That should be illegal. No,
like that's the worst.
Ridiculous.
But that's why I'm very happy this weekend. I believe all the Yankees games against the Red Sox are night games, especially on the weekend, which is cool. It does mess with like people's weekend plans, I guess. But, like whatever. Let's see. Yeah, true. You'd probably be better off at this point. Let's take a look at some of these chat comments. Jesse Sanchez says Luis Severino could begin his rehab assignment as early as the end of the week. Aaron Boone said.
Oh, good. Our trade deadline acquisition's coming back.
I can't wait until Brian Cashman holds a press conference on like August 1st. He's like, we felt the prices out there were too high. We were thinking about a guy like Scherzer, but we felt like Luis Severino is coming back. And he's just gonna be the acquisition that the Yankees need. I think that he's gonna be the guy for us. Bro, that's literally how Brian Cashman talks. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever sat down and watched like a 40-minute full like press conference from Brian Cashman, but you would think that the dude has never spoken in front of public before.
It's actually more like this. He talks like
yes,
tone and like
yes,
that's how he talks.
And he says after every he's like
he says the same thing over and over again in different
yes
words. Yeah.
Yes, bro. He talks like he's in pain. That was actually a really good one.
Thank you, man.
But Luke says the difference of 2017 is Girardi. Boone is a yes man. Girardi did not take any crap and lit fires underperformers. I like that underperformers. Boone, we have to get better. No shit. I mean, kind of true, bro.
Yeah, but the difference is like Girardi will just flat out tell you what's going on, like what the deal is. Like he'll know what they're struggling with and how to fix it, and he'll call them out on it. Boone seems to have either has no idea what's wrong, or he's just not willing to say it, because he tells us nothing in these press conferences. It's always, oh, we're about to turn a corner. Like, I like the way that so and so was looking at pitches today, and that's a good sign. And but it's not what we want to hear, right? We want to hear a solution. We want to hear that there's a plan in place, because it doesn't seem like there is one at this point.
At the same time, I kind of get it, because like you don't want to give away like your plans, but at the same time, it's like sometimes you want to hear a little bit more.
But it makes it seem like he's clueless.
I mean, he kind of
maybe he is. I don't know.
I mean, listen, I think the only way the Yankees are kind of gonna find their way out of this hole is a couple things, right? One, they have to either call someone up who's gonna like insert a major energy boost into that lineup, be a Chris Gittens or a Derek Dietrich or a Trey Ambrose. I don't know, just someone that could come up and just inject some new life into this lineup. B, you make a big trade for somebody that'll kind of enter the locker room and kind of like wake everyone up, like a Max Scherzer, Ketel Marte. I would love Jesse Winker, but that's never happening. Just a guy like that. And then I think the third thing that you could possibly do, make a drastic coaching change. Now I don't think that Boone is necessarily going to be fired. While you could make the argument that it would be well deserved at this point. But I think Marcus Thames would be the guy, right? Yeah. Because the Yankees offense has struggled so much with such good hitters. You have to look at the hitting coach. And while it may not be directly Tim's fault, he's the representative of the Yankees hitting department as a whole. Absolutely. So I mean, if the offense has struggled so much, you really want to shake up that clubhouse, you fire the hitting coach mid-season. You replace him, bro. I think that's probably the biggest shockwave that you could send. Regardless, I mean, I think while trading or calling somebody up would be an ideal way to go, I think firing Tim's would probably be the most ideal situation.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't see it happening, honestly, because they just seem so.
No, they love Marcus Thames. He's been around for a while too. It's got to be at least 10 years at this point. He's been in the organization, because I believe he was the assistant hitting coach before, and then they promoted him to the primary hitting coach. But yeah. Let's see. Damien says they need to fire someone to hold this team accountable. That's kind of what I said. I mean, listen, if you want to hold this team accountable, I think someone has to kind of take the brunt of it. And if that guy's Marcus Thames, like, so be it. You know what I mean? Like, no love lost. I don't know. But Brian, do we have any predictions for today's game? Do we have any home run predictions? What do we got? Because I predicted a Tyler Wade inside the Barker home run yesterday. That clearly didn't happen. But
I think we see no home runs today.
No home runs, all for a chill?
0 home runs.
You know, I think I'm going to go with 1.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Kyle Higashioka. It just seems like one of those days where he's just going to randomly hit a solo shot. And that's probably like all that's going to happen.
So you're predicting, so you're predicting 2 home runs then, because he never hits just one. He always hits two, right?
No, I'm thinking one. I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah,
just
okay,
one today. Yeah, he
okay.
usually hits them in pairs, but I think I'm just
Like
going
day.
one.
All right.
But how do you think Tyone's gonna do today?
I think we'll see a decent day out of Tyone. I think we'll
Fair.
see. I think we'll see 6 innings, maybe 2 earned runs, something like that. 8 strikeouts, something in that range.
I would take that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the same way as you. I think we're gonna see six. Um, I believe 3 earned runs though.
Okay.
3 earned runs. Probably like 8 or 9 Ks though.
Okay.
Now I think that while like 3 runs, six and 3 runs would probably be an ideal situation for Tyone. I don't think that'll get the job done for the Yankees simply because the
Yeah.
offense isn't going to be scoring more than 3 off of
Mm-hmm.
Rich Hill. So I don't know. I think as far as the final score goes, you guys know I usually like to predict wins. I'm predicting a loss today. I'm sorry. I think the Yankees are probably going to lose. Like I think they're going to lose 4-1.
Mm. Yeah. I was gonna say 5-1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
they're
we
going
get
to
a
lose 4 to
I
1.
think we get a solid outing from Tyone. Bullpen gives up a couple runs in garbage time because a 1-run deficit is too much to overcome, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if the Yankees lose this series to the Rays, I think it might be a serious wake up call. Like I know like everyone's kind of like in panic city over what just happened against the Tigers, but if
Yeah.
the Yankees put up that same performance against the Rays, I think we will see a drastic move by the organization.
Yeah.
No
No,
joke. I
I
truly
think you're
believe
right.
so.
I think you're right. I think it's time that something happens.
Yeah.
It's
I
been
don't
too
know.
long.
I guess we'll
Yeah.
see. But with that being said, that is going to wrap things up for today's pregame. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. We will be live directly after the game for the postgame. So you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. We're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. See you after the game. Peace.